Morning everyone, hope everyone is okay this morning. It's bright and early here where I'm doing this, in my office as ever. So I'm going to do a little bit of a Friday assembly. Just before we get going with the assembly, I've got one or two things just to talk about. The first, really important thing is, you remember in the first Friday assembly I did some bad jokes. If you've got any jokes, can you send them to me or get your teachers to send them to me, because I'd like to do a joke an assembly, at least one, and they were the only three I know, so I've kind of run out of other jokes. Also, I know that people are still going on the Meads, which is great, and at the moment it's fine, and we'll send this message out to your parents as well. But just so you remember, from next week I think it'd be a really good idea to start bringing some spare shoes into school, some like trainers or even welly boots or whatever, something you can change into when it's your turn to go onto the Meads at playtime, because it is starting to get a bit wet and slippy and boggy out there. So, well done again to all the Friday Stars of the Week winners. Nearly forgot what it was then. And well done for house points and all of those kind of things. Do you know, I love giving people house points. Some of the things I've given people house points for this week, well, the two that I'm going to talk about are, first of all, people who have been stopping and waiting, either because they've had to queue for the toilet because there's someone in there, or that they've had to wait for another bubble to come past, something like that. Such sensible behaviour. It's been so impressive. And things like Archie at lunchtime this week. We were one or two short-staffed in the lunchtime hall and I was helping out. And he really helped me out on his table, handing things out, making sure everyone had anything. Archie in year 3, and he really was fantastic this week. So what I'm going to talk about, I'm going to read you a story about, is people who inspire us. What does that word mean, to be inspired? Does anyone know? Yeah, that's right, lots of you know what that means. That means to feel great, to feel that you can do something even better, and to admire what they've done, to think it's a fantastic thing. Do you know, probably the person in my life who has inspired me most has been my dad, and he's still alive. He's quite an old man now, he's 94 years old. But he is an incredible person. He started work when he was 14. He had to cycle around London where he lived, and he used to have to hand out what are called telegram messages. That were in the days before phones and things like that. It's that long ago. And he used to do that. And then he got evacuated in the war. And then he did other things in the war. And he has lived an amazing life. And the thing that inspires me most about my dad is what he believes in. Because he believes that in absolute fairness, and that everyone should be given an equal chance. And he believes that we should sometimes have to help each other as well. One of the things that he's done, I'm sure you've heard of food banks. Well, he lives near Littlehampton, and he helped to set up the Littlehampton Food Bank, but he's done many, many other things. And he is the most inspirational person in my life. The girl in our story, though, also, when you read this really inspires me, this kind of thing. She's called Amazing Grace. Grace was a girl who loved stories. She didn't mind if they were read to her or told to her or made her own up in her head. She didn't care if they were from books or on TV or in films or on video or out of Nana's long memory. Grace just loved stories. And after she heard them, or sometimes while they were still going on, Grace would act them out, and she always gave herself the most exciting part. Grace went into battle as Joan of Arc and wove a wicked web as Anansi the Spider-Man. Great as a spider, isn't she? She hid inside the wooden horse at the gates of Troy. She crossed the Alps with Hannibal and 100 elephants. She sailed the 7 seas with a peg leg and a parrot. She was Hiawatha sitting by the shining big sea water and Mowgli in the back garden jungle. I'm sure lots of you like to imagine that you're someone else and playing like that. But most of all, Grace loved to act pantomimes. She liked to be Dick Whittington turning to hear the bells of London town or Aladdin rubbing the magic lamp. The best characters in pantomimes were boys, but Grace played them anyway. When there was no one else around, Grace played all the parts herself. She was a cast of thousands. Paw Paw the cat usually helped out, and sometimes she could persuade Ma and Nana to join in when they weren't too busy. Then she was Dr. Grace, and their lives were in her hands. One day at school, her teacher said they were going to do the play of Peter Pan. Grace put up her hand to be Peter Pan. "You can't be called Peter," said Raj. "That's a boy's name." But Grace kept her hand up. "You can't be Peter Pan," whispered Natalie. "He wasn't black." But Grace kept her hand up. "All right," said the teacher. "Lots of you want to be Peter Pan, so we'll have to have auditions. We'll choose the parts next Monday." When Grace got home, she seemed rather sad. "What's the matter?" asked Ma. "Raj said I couldn't be Peter Pan because I'm a girl." "That just shows all Raj knows about it," said Ma. "Peter Pan is always a girl." Grace cheered up. Then later she remembered something else. "Natalie says I can't be Peter Pan because I'm black," she said. Ma started to get angry, but Nana stopped her. "It seems that Natalie is another one who don't know nothing," she said. "You can be anything you want, Grace, if you put your mind to it." Next day was Saturday, and Nana told Grace they were going out. In the afternoon, they caught a bus and a train into town. Nana took Grace to a grand theatre. Outside it said Rosalie Wilkins in Romeo and Juliet in beautiful sparkling lights. "Are we going to the ballet, Nana?" asked Grace. "We are, honey, but I want you to look at these pictures first." Nana showed Grace some photographs of a beautiful young girl dancing in a tutu. "Stunning new Juliet," it said on one of them. Let me see that. That one is little Rosalie from back home in Trinidad, said Nana. "Her granny and me, we grew up together on the island. She was always asking me, I'll read that bit again. She's always asking me, do I want tickets to see her little girl dance? So this time I said yes." After the ballet, Grace played the part of Juliet, dancing around her room in her imaginary tutu. "I can be anything I want," she thought. "I can even be Peter Pan." On Monday, they had the auditions. Their teacher let the class vote on the parts. Raj was chosen to play Captain Hook. Natalie was going to be Wendy. Then they had to choose Peter Pan. Grace knew exactly what to do and all the words to say. It was a part she had played so often at home. All the children voted for her. "You were great," said Natalie. The play was a great success and Grace was an amazing Peter Pan. After it was all over, she said, "I feel as if I could fly all the way home." "You probably could," said Ma. "Yes," said Nana. "If Grace put her mind to it, she can do anything she wants." And that inspires me because I think Grace has shown us in that story that anyone can do anything they want. But we also heard there that sometimes people put barriers and obstacles in the way, don't they? Saying, "You're a girl, you can't do that. You're black, you can't do that." What awful things to say. We should all be judged absolutely fairly as individual people. We all have our own strengths and our own areas to get better at, and we should all be judged on those things, not the colour of our hair or our skin or whether we're a boy or a girl or whether we're in a wheelchair or whether we wear glasses or all of those kind of things. So today, if you get a quiet moment, try and think about someone who maybe inspires you, someone who makes you want to be even better than you are. Okay, Hope you all have a great day and see you soon.